To bring the town board meeting of January 24th, 2013 to order, please.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
I'll second that motion.
Salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have a moment of silence for the military serving in this country and around the world. Thank you. The emergency exits are in the back on your right, our left, your left, our right. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perotti? Here. Councilman Haas?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle? Here. Supervisor Clyde?
Yes.
Councilwoman Reamer? Nobody's absent.
Public comments. Do we have any signed up?
They're signing up right now. Thanks. You're five.
Ronnie Hansel, 21 O'Handley Drive. Wanted to discuss the dog who came and took my welcome mat seriously and spent the whole day with me. I called the town. I called the supposed to be dog catcher. He informed me that he couldn't come. His vehicle was in repair. So he gave me several options. One, I should take a broom and I should go out and chase the dog on the ice. That didn't seem like a good idea to me. So then he said I should take some pepper and throw it in the dog's face. I didn't think that was too hot an idea either, since my son has a dog living at my house as well. I wouldn't want somebody to do that to him. So anyway, the dog stayed from 9 to 4:30. Now, I've been listening for 14 years almost about the animals and how we're doing something about it. Obviously, if we are, we ain't doing much, because dogs run through that neighborhood all the time. Some of us have invisible fences. Some of us let other people take care of their dogs, like that one. I'm not too thrilled with the idea, because I can't chase dogs away. I don't want a dog fighting with the dog that I have there that belongs to my son. So, need to do something about this, other than just telling me that it's being worked on, because 14
Well,
years.
I did talk to you, and it's being worked on. So I did speak to you last week.
Yes, you did. You told me the same standard answer they've been saying for 14 years.
Well, I am
over.
working on it. So at this point, we're trying to merge with the town of Dover. Trying to reach out to the town of Dover supervisor, and as soon as he returns my call, hopefully we can get it done.
He hasn't returned your call?
He has not.
From almost 3 weeks ago?
Almost 3 weeks ago.
I guess he's
In
not
fact, I was
interested.
just on the email with him. Just checked his emails again.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to address tonight was a water bill. I received a water bill that from 9,000 gallons every 4 months, I went up to 172,584 gallons in 4 months. I must wash a lot. The bill is $485.
Did you call the water company?
I did, and he was supposed to call me back today, but that didn't happen either, so I guess he's working on it.
There are some issues with the meters.
Yes, I'm sure there are, because I know that being I'm there by myself most of the time.
Right. I think there's 9 or I forget how many. There's 10 or 12 meters I think they're having issues with.
Well, this is the first issue I've had with this one.
Right.
But $485, they will never see it. I can promise you that.
Well, the problem is I think they've tried to reach out to a lot of people because some of these meters have been a problem for a while, and they have not sent the bills out, so they sent the bills out to get, obviously now we're getting your response. So that'll be taken care of.
Marilyn Noe?
Okay, Marilyn Noe from Amenia. Just a couple of reminders. First of all, the next meeting of the wastewater committee is going to be Monday, the 28th at 5 p.m. I'm surprised it's not posted. And this is according to Janet Reagan, who I believe is the chairwoman. Also, just a reminder that the high school, Webbatuck High School, for anybody that's looking for exercise, indoor exercise during this inclement weather, it's open in the evenings for any residents or taxpayers of the town of Amenia. I was there last night, and the ladies that were walking would welcome, more company. Thank you.
Cheryl Morris.
Good evening, Cheryl Morse, 4909 Route 22, P.O. Box 645. I'm here to address the town board tonight regarding a letter I have received a copy of from the County of Dutchess Human Resources Department relating to the Town of Amenia Board Minutes Resolution number 74 of 2012, which granted a $5,000 final compensation for additional time worked to the town bookkeeper. It says she had accrued time in excess of 20 hours per week from January 1/12 through 11/23/12. Let's see. Basically, as a part-time employee, she should not have been working more than 20 hours per week, nor should she have received this compensation based on the fact that records that were sent and certified through the county never mentioned this outstanding payment. If someone works more than 20 hours, the position had to be classified in the competitive class, an exam had to be passed, and the employee would have to come off a list. Apparently, according to this, there were a number of discrepancies, and because the payroll was certified with no mention of the outstanding hours. And I question why some of the board members didn't do their homework as far as civil service employees when these additional hours were worked. Because it's my understanding after subsequent conversations that I have had and knowing civil service law as I do.
What laws do you know, and who'd you talk to?
I talked to Kevin Menyow, the personnel technician.
Correct. Okay.
And that's where this foiled letter came from.
Right.
I just received it today, actually.
Well, we've
And
had it
so
for-
I want to know what the outcome is going to be for this, since the payroll was not properly certified. How often do you have to submit payroll to the county in order to get payment for the employees? Because it seems to me
Well,
that...
obviously you don't know what you're talking about, because only
Oh,
takes,
excuse me,
it takes
Mr. Flood.
It takes one week of payroll per year is certified.
1 week per year is certified?
I believe that's.
1 week?
One
Well,
week.
then, wait a minute. I don't believe that's so. I'm a civil servant. I'm covered by civil service law. I have to report my time for every day and every week that I
You have
work.
3 minutes.
That's fine. I'll be done within the 3
Okay.
minutes. But I want to know what's going to be done to address this, where that money is going to go, because that's taxpayer money. Is it going to be paid back?
No.
Why not?
The town board's allowed to give a merit raise, and that's what we did.
With no mention during the time in records that are certified that this person gets that, because that's not my understanding from...
I've talked to Carl many times in the past.
And I think
year.
you're giving me a line of crap telling me what you're telling me.
I've talked to Carl.
I know you all made complaints.
Oh, no, I didn't make the complaint.
Well, this
I
one
just
did. So there's a
called
lot of them that made
and looked
complaints.
into it. And I don't think he's telling everybody a different story, Mr. Flood. With all due respect, there have been more than one occasion that I have come before this board to make public comment. I've even read legislation to you where after the fact, when you had told me that something wasn't legal or wasn't possible, that you were not entirely factual. So excuse me, Mr. Flood, I want to know the disposition of what's going to happen with this, because according
Nothing.
to
I
this...
just told you. The board gave her a $5,000 merit raise.
And
That's
it
the
was
end.
not legal
It is
according to this document. So I'm going to get this document published so that people can see what's going on. And I urge the other board members who continue to vote with you without appropriately doing their homework and getting the proper guidance, I would urge them strongly to seek out the information and the truth before they make decisions in voting,
Fine. Thank
so
you.
that it's fair to everybody
Thank you
and
very
all the
much for your input.
taxpayers.
Do your homework.
I do not. We have done our homework.
I don't think you have.
Yes, we have. We have.
Yeah. We'll consider the
This
source.
letter does not lie, it's a certified.
So is mine. So is ours. The board's had it for several weeks.
I know.
And I'll tell you one thing, Sherry Johnson is probably the most important employee in this building. And she's
Really?
earned every penny of it.
Really?
That's right.
Well, that's a slap in the face to the other.
I'm not saying it's not a slap in the face to anybody. I'm not being rude at all. You're being rude.
Mr. Warner's next on the
Fine.
comment list. Tom?
Consider the source.
On 22 tonight, I noticed a piece in there about the school wanting to use the playground equipment that we have at Millbrook School.
I mean, the fields.
The field.
They want to use the field.
It's impossible for
You know what,
them.
Tom? Your chairperson is already working with them, and some of the other.
I don't care who's working with them.
Well, I don't care who's working with them. I'm telling you, they're already working with them.
Well, that's fine. They're working with them. It's
Right.
impossible to use the field at that time due to the weather conditions. The water cannot be used because there's freezing conditions. And for the taxpayers to charge a kid $25 to get out there and play catch, and you allow a school to come in and pay whatever they pay.
Your
It's-
committee is working with them.
I'm telling you, it's not.
It is. I just got an email today. So I don't know where you're coming.
Let's stop. This is not an argument, this is a fact.
It's fact. They're working with them. Talk to Christine Ford and Chip Watt.
Now,
Talk
we know about Chip Watts.
Right.
We're trying to tell you that it can't be done. And like I said, you charge a kid, the taxpayer's child, $25 to use that, and you're going to allow a school to come in and slap the taxpayers in the face because you decide that you want to do it.
That's not
That's
true.
right. That is not good business.
Well, I'm under the impression they're going to pick up the cost of whatever it is. Their fields are under renovations. That's why they're asking.
Fine.
Fine.
Why don't
but
they-
I think you need to talk to your commission because they're already having the conversations with them. Obviously, you're not in the picture with them. So
Evidently not,
you're not.
because the email that I got didn't cover that.
The last email I got said they were going to do it.
Please, this is not a discussion.
All right,
I'm
fine.
up here for a comment, not a discussion.
Okay. Well, check with your commission chair. And Chip Watt.
Then
Next.
The next person is Kevin Casson.
wanted to make a few announcements. The Cornell Cooperative Extension is offering a bunch of classes and rides for people who want to, oh, by the way, Kevin Cassone, Amenia Enhancement Committee. The Cornell Cooperative Extension is offering classes on growing your own vegetables. This is going to happen from the Millbrook Center from Saturday 9:30 to 12:30, February 16th to March 16th. I'm going to be posting all these flyers in the front door of the town hall. This is being given by a very knowledgeable woman, really good at what she does. Another class, and that is, these are for fee. These classes cost, that one costs growing your own vegetable gardening A to Z is a Cornell Cooperative official class. That's going to be $95. And like I said, from February 16th to March 16th. It's also offered in Poughkeepsie, but I don't think that matters here. But that's also a nighttime class. So there's weekday nighttime or Saturday 9:30 in the morning to 12 noon. They're having another one, Grow Your Own Food, $95 at the Cooperative Extension on Route 44. Also $95 from April 6th to May 4th. And another day, 3 days, April 6th, May 4th, June 1st from 1 to 3. Saturday at the Dutchess County Farm and Home Center on Route 44. And then they are also organizing a tour bus. Anybody who calls is first come, first serve. They asked all the Master Gardeners first, but anybody, Wednesday, March 3rd, a bus will be leaving 8 a.m. from the home center there on Route 44. $70 gets you the bus trip and entrance into the Philadelphia Flower Show, which is the most prestigious show in the country. And you're there and back in one day. You get back late in the evening.
Where is it?
Don't make me look. 9:30. So these are all being offered by the Cornell Cooperative Extension. Call their office, check their website. And that's all I have as a public comment.
Thank you, Kevin.
That's all
You're
we
welcome.
have. That's all we
That's
have.
it? Highway report, I got a call from Stan tonight, he's not coming in. Just a couple things that we're working on. Willow Lane, I don't know if the public is aware that we've had some extensive drainage work done on Willow Lane, some paving, so on, drainage work mostly. One of the contractors put a drainage pipe in the wrong spot, on the wrong property. So we've been trying to get that straightened around with Ian, the contractor, the county. Pete Sotero, who is a town engineer, has offered his services, so he's been out to look at the thing, so he's going to write a report. He's been in touch with you, right?
I've spoken to Pete.
Right, so there's some differences in what Gleason is telling us and what is reality at the field. So that's being done. Stan also brought another contractor in there. He was going to try to get a contractor in there in the last couple days or whatever to see what it would cost to get the rock out of there. Where to put the thing, the pipe where it's got to go.
Okay.
So that he's working on. And that's it. I think the roads are fine. He's fine with everything. And that's it for the highway report. Town clerk.
Okay. In regards to the tax amount that we have received thus far, to report to the town board, we have received $265,138.08. I also wanted to let everyone know that I've been hearing that I'm not receiving all of my emails, and I would like to apologize to whomever has been emailing me, and I would ask that you please give a call to the office, and I'll be glad to help you, or try to go ahead and resend it. I am working with our email company, and they're trying to work out wherever the glitch may be. I do have 2 emails. It's townclerk@ameniany.gov, as well as dmkligner@ameniany.gov. So if you're not getting me at town clerk, please send it to my name. The office has received a building use form request from the Garden Club of Amenia. They are looking to use the auditorium, the hallway, the bathroom access on the 3rd Saturday of February, March, April, May, and June. The reason why we're bringing it to you is because they're looking for a waiver in the use, the $25 fee, as well as a waiver in the insurance. I don't know if you would be able to kind of answer any questions if the board has any, but on here it indicates that you're going to be asking for a $5 donation. So since they're charging, Patty wasn't sure
Well, they're a town committee, right, so.
Well, it's the
Garden
garden
club.
club.
Oh, the garden
It's a
club.
garden.
It was an enhancement, so.
What are they going to be doing?
It's a lecture series.
Do you mind?
It's a lecture series. We're getting other members, past members, just to give classes on different aspects of gardening. We're trying to start a lecture series. We didn't necessarily have to charge, but I would point out every penny the garden club raises goes right back into town. I mean, every penny we raise every year is distributed to the citizens who want to come and get free flowers, or we take some of the stuff we
Now, what are the dates
purchase and
again?
we plant it on town
The
property.
third Saturday, so February 16th, March 16th, February 20th, May 18th, and June 15th, from 1 p.m. till 5 p.m. I couldn't
And
say
just-
yes without
It's
asking.
not
What was the
being
date?
used
No,
otherwise,
right.
right? So might as well be used.
Right.
In April, it was April 20th.
You have a problem with it?
What was the May date?
May 18th.
So, you need a motion or just the?
I don't know what you guys have done in the past, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion that we waive the insurance and the fee typically required for use of the building for the third Saturdays for the Amenia Garden Club in February, March, April, May, and June.
I have a motion on the table, I need a second.
Oh, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
So can we do it without insurance?
Yeah, what do we do about insurance then?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Well, I
Could
don't,
it fall under enhancement then? Could it be,
No.
no, okay.
well, we haven't required insurance of other
Meetings.
nonprofit organizations, have we?
The only one we're getting, Duchess gave us insurance, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little
Duchess
bit
Community
different.
College,
Right,
but
that's
they're
little
not a
bit different, right.
nonprofit. They're,
I just see a problem with it. I'll talk to Byron in the morning.
yeah, see if a lecture series would flag anything.
Well, I think
that
we ought to at least check into it
Right.
to make sure we're
Okay.
covered.
Then I would amend the motion to say, conditional upon the Byron Barnes saying that is a,
Well, I think he's probably going to have the lecture
Recommended.
series anyway, right? I mean, we just need to check to see if we need to require you to have insurance, but the garden club doesn't have
they don't have
an
insurance.
insurance
Yeah.
policy or
Yeah.
anything.
There's other smaller
So
groups
it's
that
kind of
aren't
a moot
organized.
point.
Right.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
what?
I said it's kind of a moot point. I mean, you aren't a type of organization that even has insurance that the town of Amenia could put insurance
They
on.
would be covered under ours anyway, I would think, but.
Well, we
you
have
should make
certain-
sure, you
Right,
want
I
to
will
make
call
sure.
Byron
Certain
and-
volunteer groups
Yeah.
have been
I mean,
Right.
'cause other-
exempt, right? Certain volunteers and,
I
Well,
mean, that's up to you, but I would make sure that at least they're going to be covered by your insurance policy
Yeah,
check with your.
well, why don't we say yes contingent upon
the
Yeah.
That's fine.
recommendation of
what
the
the
Byron Barnes.
recommendation of our insurance agent?
But just one, if I can make one quick point, I mean, other businesses or individuals, sometimes businesses, I don't know with the yoga guy, sometimes, I'm sure he maybe has a rider that he can add to, because he's a business. The cost of such a policy would take a lot out of our funds that we spend to give back to the community. But I think you also need a uniform policy. There's a lot of other people coming here doing free stuff, and and they don't have any sort of organization. I mean, at least we've gone through the trouble to become a legitimate 501c3 registered charitable, corporation. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Done on me, yes, then. I didn't actually say
Thanks,
this.
CJ.
I just have a question. Is that dog still there or is it gone? The dog, is it still there?
No,
Oh,
I never saw him
okay.
before that day, and I haven't seen him since.
Okay.
He's somebody's pet. You can tell from the way he acted and the way he looked. He's somebody's pet.
Is he a husky or a husky-looking like dog? There's one that was loose for a while.
They have 4 legs.
He's a black dog, and he
Some have
has
3.
white,
He jumps,
a little bit of
jumped
white
on
on
me.
him. Cute little thing and fat.
Is he big?
You know.
Is he like about yay high and really fluffy?
Yes,
That's probably the guy who's got the husky that keeps getting loose.
Yeah.
but he's never been on that street that I've seen him before.
Oh, they'll run 25 miles a day. I used to breed
The
them.
only problem is that when he tried to get friendly and come in the house, my son's dog did not want to share that part of it.
You're not the first one's made a complaint, and I told you about the dog
Yeah,
catcher. So we are working on it. Believe me.
He's a nice little dog. I've never hurt somebody's animal just because he's there. That's ridiculous. I mean, the advice I got was like nuts, you know.
I have one more housekeeping matter that I need to complete the certificate of designation for the Association of Towns. If any of the council members intend on attending, they do have some resolutions that they're going to need votes from the members.
Yeah, Vicki Doyle's going to be our designated.
Okay, we just needed to make that formal because I have to fill out a form, so
Okay.
congratulations. I'm going to give you a packet of things you need to read later.
Do we need to make a motion?
They had, in the
we
past,
did
in the past, it's been part of the
Reorg.
reorg.
But
and
we
this year
didn't do it.
was not.
We didn't do it this
year.
So if someone would
We'll
like
make
to.
a motion. Do you want to make a motion?
To make a motion for Vicki Doyle to be a Town of Amenia delegate to the Association of Town
Thank you.
Conference.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Water and Building Department reports. The water company did send out some bills that are high because there's some issues with the meters. They've been trying to reach out to the people that own these buildings, the properties, and they have not sent out the bills, so they decided to send out the bills, and obviously we're getting the calls to come in to fix the meters. Any other committee reports?
Oh, sorry. Bill.
Yep.
One more thing. We have been in contact with the Bank of Millbrook regarding a check reading machine, and Patty obtained some information that the cost would be $325 plus shipping, which would be $25 for shipping. That would mean that we would own the machine, plus each additional month, it's $60 a month to, I guess, have the program. The bank will waive the fee for the first 6 months. You know, I spoke to Patty in regards to obtaining that, and I just felt that those fees were not necessary. So, I mean, we did look into it, but at this time, we're not looking
It's not,
to add that.
it's not that imperative, right? I
No,
mean,
she's
we-
going to still have to make her cash deposits, and
Yeah.
since it's right here in town and she goes to the bank every day, or I'll go to the bank every day, that I don't want
That's
her to
fine.
have that expense.
The Salisbury Bank was cheaper. That's what the deal was.
Okay, but I just want, that's what Millbrook said,
Right.
so she put it in there.
Also, you're all set with the online taxes?
We are working with Value Payment Program. I did receive an email.
Let me just,
It-
the public.
Okay.
With our new website, you can pay your taxes online with a credit card. It will, if you fill in your name and your property owner, if you click onto the website, you can go to your property line, it'll give you your bill. You can pay it online with a credit card. It will print out your receipt and it automatically credits your account here the next day. So that's stuff that can be done also.
We are in the process of ensuring that it will go to the correct bank. What I was last told at 6 o'clock this evening, talking with Value Payment, that if you were to go ahead and send it, it may just take a day or two for it to actually process until the transaction is all set and we're cleared. So on my end, it'll reflect as though it's not being deposited, but it'll continue to try
The
every
first one.
day. Yes,
Okay.
until we get going.
All right.
So we're hoping, if not by tomorrow, the checks that we did send over to the company still have our former mailing address, so I need to get a letter from the bank saying that if they're not starter checks. So we just have some housekeeping issues, but hopefully, starting by Monday, you'll be able to follow that function. And like Supervisor Flood says, you'll be able to go on our website, click on .gov, BASNY/Amenia, and you'll be able to just type in, you can find your bill by your property address, by your last name, if you know your tax ID number, and you can pay by credit card. There will be an additional service fee that you will experience, but it'll be giving you the convenience of paying by credit card and not having to write a check.
Which the credit card holder pays the fee. Yes.
Does that affect, that doesn't affect if your bank pays it?
No, if you're set with escrow, you're all good to go. But some people would like to send in, do a credit card and just do it right over a lot, and you can do that now.
This new system accepts the bank credit cards in one email, not 50 letters. 50, it just does it automatically. If a bank or an escrow company has 150 houses that they pay the taxes for, they can pay it in one swoop and be done. So it's much easier, we hope. Committee reports, anything else? You got anything?
When's our next enhancement committee? Is it the third Wednesday as usual? I didn't write it in. Yep.
No, January 30th, but not for any of the enhancement committee business. When you get home tonight, you'll be seeing I sent out a mass email to what we were calling the Holiday Lights Working Group. So anybody, last minute ideas, send me an email, Casone, AmeniaNewYork.gov, CASSONE, or come to the meeting 5:15, January 30th, Wednesday here, and before the memories fade, let us know what you thought, anything you want to add. Nobody's going to say yes or no to any idea. We're just compiling all the ideas, and it'll be up to the board and the community at large, and volunteer fire company, and the Amenia Free Library to all decide what we will do. But I've been getting a lot of good suggestions. I've been getting a lot of emails from people, so they're all in there. That's the next meeting. The next regular enhancement meeting is. Oh, Vicki, what's the date?
The 20th is the first day of
third
spring.
Wednesday.
It's the first day of spring. The March 20, or no, I'm sorry, February.
20th.
Sorry, it's February 20th, not March 20th.
Yeah, and at the last meeting, if you want me to, we put together a schedule of all the dates the enhancement committee is going to do for the whole year. So if any of you want a condensed version of that, I have a detailed overview with all our press release dates too. Just a word to the wise, everybody seems to forget. If you have an event March 31st, you need to get something to Maureen Rooney before February 1st. I know for some of you, she lets it slide to the 10th of the month, February 10th, for an event at, almost 6, 7 weeks, 8 weeks later. But it's always better to be early. You can have that back and forth with her. And also the one who submits first, she's already starting to block out space for your article, rather than being the person who gets it in by the 10th or the 14th, and she squeezes you in one column inch. So the earlier the better. Weekly events are different, but we have a schedule of every event, a detailed one. We went over our budget, so we're all we're trying to be proactive. And Vicki, when we can get I know it's not a hot burner issue, but you were asking I guess it's Mike at BAS will be able to, when the enhancement committee gets a page, we can put this schedule up there. If you wanted material, I think he said he wanted material. Do I need to send it to you and you'll forward it to him?
Send it to Mary.
To Mary?
To Mary.
Okay. And other than that, we had a really nice meeting. We went over like 17 subjects. Some items only were allocated a minute or 2 minutes, and we finished 9 minutes early, so.
So we're 5:15 now, right? We moved
5:15, all the time for 5:15, because there's the CAC meeting at
7.
At 7.
Typically.
So 5:30 never, or I thought 6:30, but it never worked. We're always butting up into their meeting. So 5:15. Okay, thanks.
Well, I have one under recreation, touching on what the issue Tom brought up during public comment. Recreation Commission meeting Tuesday, January 29th. So that's this coming Tuesday at 5:30 to discuss the possibility of Millbrook Public Schools using Amenia Beekman Park, especially the adult baseball field. So it's really, if you have any concerns or questions, that's the time to ask. 5:30 Tuesday the 29th.
And I'll just reiterate that the wastewater meeting is at 5 p.m. on Monday, January 28th. And they'll be discussing an EFC decision on our hardship funding, which was up in the air because we changed our application from using Silo Ridge's site to a site that the town would own and be in control, since Silo Ridge stepped back from that original commitment of building a sewage plant that would take on our capacity as well as theirs. So we're going solo, and they had to take another look at our application and decide whether or not our hardship funding would still meet their requirements, and that would give us 0% interest, which would make a huge dent on how much money the town would be responsible for.
I believe we had a letter from Mr. Mudge about reappointing Jean Thornton Schwager to the Ethics Board. And I think we advertised for volunteers for that board, and I don't believe we received any
We have
others.
not received any.
Is she willing to continue serving?
Yes,
So maybe we should make that appointment. Is she up now for renewal?
yes.
So I'd make a motion that we reappoint Jean Schwager for another term on the Ethics Board.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No, while we're doing it, Jim Walsh, we have an opening, Jim Walsh's seat is up at on the planning board, and we have a letter from Jimmy that, dear Bill Flood and town board members, I wish to continue to serve on the town of Amenia's planning board. I've served the same since 1989, so I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Jimmy Walsh to serve a 7-year term on the planning board.
I'll second that motion.
How long has that been advertised?
I
They
think
went in twice, and they
Yeah.
were due today at noon.
Okay.
we got nobody.
The only, well,
Jimmy.
Jim Walsh is the only one. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
If no, not opposed, or you're voting
No.
no? Voting no. Just since you're talking, ZBA, you still have an open seat, as well as workforce housing. Would you like me to re-advertise then for those?
No, I think the ZBA, they're gonna see if they can work out a schedule change.
Oh,
Okay,
to
but-
accommodate.
No, they still
They
have
still
an
need
open seat
another
Oh,
anyway.
they still have an open seat?
Judy Valentry's term was up, or she's left, so that seat itself we need to fill.
Yeah, we filled the chairman, we
Right.
still
Yeah,
need to
so-
feed it.
So we have to advertise again?
New 5-year term.
If that's what you would like. And then for
Yeah.
the rec commission seat that it is open as of March 31st,
Might as well
you've
start.
received one application.
Is it advertised?
It's been advertised, yes. It was in today's paper, or last week's paper.
Last week's
and it was
volunteers.
due.
Can we add enhancement committee? We always
Why don't we send them again?
appreciate.
Just send it out again?
Yeah,
Okay,
all of them, right?
Yeah.
okay. So we'll do ZBA, workforce housing, rec commission, enhancement. When would you like the next batch due?
It goes out next week, right?
I can, yeah, I can send it out tomorrow, and she can get it in for the next paper. But
When's our next meeting?
your next
The
meeting is
14th.
February 14th.
That's
so
fun.
Have them
Get
due
in
on the
another-
13th?
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
that'll give them plenty of time. And make sure it gets advertised on Channel 22 also.
Workforce housing,
I think they are.
ZBA.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're
rec,
not getting many names.
and enhancement.
ZBA, workforce, rec, enhancement.
Deadlines. Okay.
I have some people that have called about the rec thing, so.
Okay, so the volunteer application is just right outside the door or on the website?
Right. Any other committee reports? Okay, discussions, roof repair, we're getting some quotes. The gym roof is leaking, so that's got to be replaced. Some other roofs, flat roofs that we're looking at also to be replaced, so we'll have the quotes hopefully the next few days. I'll send them to you when I get them. Heating and air conditioning, we've discussed it, we've had a discussion with the board that we are down 1 to 1 boiler, and the one boiler is on a, not life support yet, but it's going to be soon. So that's something we're going to have to deal with sooner than later. One boiler has to be removed from the building, the one that's dead. So that will be part of the, we are working with Jonathan Harkness to give us a quote to do a new heating and air conditioning
Can't we
system.
decommission it and, I mean, to move it, it'll cost us a fortune, won't it?
Well, they want it out of the building, I think.
Maybe for metal, somebody would be,
Well, what we asked them is to give us a price to get the thing out,
yeah.
and so we'll see what it is. I think it has to be removed, I think. It's the insurance company that's pushing it. I think, and I'll double check with them, but I think we have to remove it from the building. But we'll see.
Is Jonathan about ready to
Yeah, we
give
met
us-
with him, Darlene and I met with him a week or so ago, 10 days ago, and he said, I thought he'd have it by now, but he's working on it, and we're close. So this is where
Be
we are.
nice to have him come and give a kind
On
of
a plan for heating and
synopsis,
cooling?
Yeah.
what he's recommending at some point when
Right.
he's got
Right.
a report for us or whatever.
We did have an electrical engineer here on Tuesday, because there's been some information back and forth about the electrical system in the building, if it's big enough to handle a new heating and air, or geothermal system, if that's where we want to go, and generating system, and so on and so forth. The engineers that were here seem to think that the system that we have is fine, to add a generator to. There's some electrical work that would have to be done with some switches and stuff that,
We have adequate power,
we have adequate power.
even with the kitchen, because they were concerned about that.
Correct. They said that they're going to give us a report. You know,
Okay.
Darlene talked to them about the kitchen and what's got to be done.
All right.
They want to add on to the kitchen
Yeah,
eventually
Right,
to make it bigger, and that, they said we could do that with a sub panel. That could be done, you
okay.
know, when you're doing it. So there's, which is actually pretty good. They
That's
went through
very
the-
good news
Yeah,
for
they went through the
change.
whole building, yeah. So,
Yeah, I think the only question we had about the electricity, I think we have, what, 400 amps here?
no, we have more than that. We have, it's a freaky thing, system. It's a little bit more than 400 amps.
But I thought when they were talking about having the theater group in the auditorium, if they had to have lights, that we would need closer to 600 amps, because they take up a lot of electricity. So I don't know if they were aware of
Yep.
that potential use of the auditorium.
We were in the auditorium. They went to every room.
But were they aware that we were going to have a theater group and, and have a lot of the theater lighting there, which takes up a lot of electricity?
Well, I guess, yes, they did. We had that discussion with them. They felt that the electrical service in the auditorium was fine. You know, if we're going to have a Broadway play and they're going to have those kind of lights, then that's something that we're going to have to deal with. You know, they felt that the lights that we have are sufficient to do what
What we're doing now.
What we're doing now. You know, if it has to be upgraded, then whoever's going to do that would have to
Right.
pay.
Somebody installs it at their
Right,
cost.
at their cost.
I see. So they think within our existing
We see,
infrastructure.
they think,
Well, that
ballpark,
would be
well,
great.
they thought that we were okay, so they'll have a report in another week or so. So, you know, to do a generating system, and they recommended that the generator run the whole building. It's cheaper and easier,
Really?
so it's, you know, then you don't have to rewire different buildings and so on and so forth.
What type of generator?
It'd be diesel.
Well, the only problem with diesel, in the wintertime, they require a type of gel to keep them from thickening.
No, what they would do is pipe it from our existing fuel tanks. And that's what they would do. And it comes with a propane power pony motor, I think, that starts the thing. That's how it works. Like, the boilers here start with propane,
I know.
so. But we have 10,000 gallon fuel tank. We could never afford to put in a big enough tank of propane to run it. So that's what they recommended, is we use diesel. The town garage, you all received a report on the borings. You know, I'll put a copy of this we'll put a copy of this in the town clerk's office tomorrow so the public can see it. Basically, they drilled 6 holes. Five. I think did they do one inside?
Yes.
They did 6 or 7 holes. Basically, the building sits on...
5 test borings at approximate locations shown on the subsurface investigation.
But I think they did one other one on the inside, or they were supposed to. Anyway, the building sits on approximately 15... Based on our site observations and review of referencing the USGS topographic map, it appears that the site was likely filled to establish the existing grades. This was confirmed by our test borings, which found fills to depths ranging from 5 feet to 12 feet. So there's fill in there. It goes on to say basically that the building as it exists will probably have to come down also as part of the new building. It's cracking, and basically they feel that the subsoil is not sustainable to hold that building without damaging any more. So basically the fill has to come out, new stuff has to be put in, if a building has to be done, it has to be, or pilings have to be drilled to put a new building there. So,
Or they set a mat-type foundation
Yeah.
or helical piles.
right.
Is there any estimate of what that would add to the overall construction costs?
No, it's not in here at all.
They don't deal with that.
No, they just did
They just tell you that you've got to have it.
did the borings and told us what condition the soil was in.
Well, the salt shed, when we were talking about having it where the salt pile is now, it added $150,000 to the cost of the salt shed. So it's not an insignificant addition to new construction. And I just read in the Poughkeepsie Journal, the concern I have is that we're so doggone close to the creek there, and the Poughkeepsie Journal just ran an article about an uncovered salt shed that the DOT operated for years and years and years. The water, it was uncovered. The rain washes the salt into the stream carries the water downstream, and wherever it goes, it can contaminate people's wells. Well, you're now having lawsuits that people's wells are contaminated. So, the whole complex has to be thought about. If you're going to have a highway garage there, you're going to have to do a lot to protect that stream. It's in, parts of it are in the floodplain. It's close. It's between a rock and a hard place. It's got a mountain here and a stream here, and it just may not be the right place for a highway garage if you have to do such extreme things to make it environmentally and structurally sound.
Yep. So,
I'm sorry. I mean,
Right,
it's
no,
just
you're
we're
right, you're
always in the
absolutely
same
right.
place.
Right. Well,
Which is that is not a suitable site, it seems to me.
yeah. We'll have to take it.
For the extra costs involved, there's got to be another place that's better for a highway garage to be located.
Stan says he's been looking a long time though.
Yes, we all have. It has been a long, hard slog.
Well, he needs a garage, there's no question. So we'll see what we can do. Main Street grant? Is there anything at this point?
Yes, I spoke to Mike today. He's been in touch with Aaron Kinney, the Office of Community Renewal. He notified the state about the system that we use to choose the landowners. He's notified the landowners of the decision, and he's downloaded the Main Street grant application, and he's emailing it to John Fenton. The other things he's done is he's going to follow up with Darlene about the kitchen plan for the rural development grant for upgrading the kitchen. And he sent the quarterly report for hazardous mitigation to Marlene White at SEMO, and he's preparing a claim of reimbursement for the engineering costs, which he'll be bringing to you next week to sign.
For Tower Hill?
Yes.
Recreation?
Actually, Victoria, do you want to, since when the awards were given out for the Main Street grant, after the camera went off at 10 o'clock, do you want to just repeat for anyone at home?
I'd rather wait until he notifies all the landowners.
Oh, okay.
Make
All right.
sure all the landowners are notified. And then he'll be sending out a press release.
Okay.
I would like to mention, while we're talking about grants, is that the Gridley Chapel Restoration Committee is trying to find additional funds. They've been restoring the Gridley Chapel in Wassaic, but they are next on the project of repairing the slate roof, which is quite beautiful, on the Victorian Gothic chapel. They need a cap piece over there, and I suggested that we get together. Committee members wanted to search for foundations and such. On Tuesday, I suggested that we come into the planning board room and use the GIS computer that was originally donated for public services so that we can get onto the internet. Is that an appropriate use of the facilities here for a community group to take a look at what
You
foundations
should also
are
talk
good?
to Leo Blackman.
Yeah, he's on our committee.
Okay.
Yeah, historic preservation's his thing, so.
Right.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
he sits on the city.
He's getting quotes for the slate roof and trying to find what grants are available through historic preservation.
Recreation position, what dates do we have for those interviews?
Next Wednesday, the 31st, and then, no, excuse me, next Thursday, the 31st, and then the following Wednesday, the 6th.
We had 26 applicants applied for the position of rec director. We pared it down to 5, and one of those dropped. So we're down to,
Well,
no, we had 8, or 6, 8.
and you went down to 5, and 4 will be interviewing.
Yeah, I think 4 is going to be, 1 drop today, so we're interviewing 4.
Who dropped?
Simon.
Simon?
Oh, okay.
So we're interviewing 4?
Was he from Pennsylvania, Ohio?
Ohio.
So we have another one coming from Ohio.
The other one's coming, that's who's coming on the following Wednesday.
Right. Trail to train.
Sorry, you said the following Wednesday, that would be
So you're
February?
February 6th.
This
I'm
one,
here.
you're starting at
5, right.
and they go right through and then go to the following month.
Yeah, 5, 5:30,
And
and
you
6.
had said 5:30, but they're going to be here at 6. So
Okay.
there is no 5:30.
Okay.
The Wasatch Trail to Train project, I spoke to WSB Cells. There's some stuff that we had to do for their environmental studies. We sent out the letters to the local Indian groups. We received a letter back that we are not in the historical, which we got. Did you get a copy of that letter?
I did get a copy of
Okay.
that.
So that's covered. We do have to do a seeker, which you prepared with their advice, correct?
Correct. So everyone got a copy of the resolution,
Right.
proposed resolution. And what happened is WSP Cells needed seeker determination from the town board. Apparently that hadn't been done. The initial project proposal that was submitted to Department of Transportation had the action classified as a type 2 action. And in speaking to the engineer, Dan Breyer, it was clear to me that retaining WSP Cells to do their work, producing reports and designing the trail is a type 2 action that doesn't require environmental review. But when you talk about constructing the trail itself, because this is a new project, that would be an unlisted action, which would require seeker review. So he ultimately agreed, and he recommended with an unlisted action, the town board is not required to undertake coordinated review, but it can choose to. And Dan had recommended engaging in coordinated review. He thought it would be faster because you do have other involved agencies here, DEC. You know, this is very close to a wetland. So you've got DEC, DOT, other state agencies that are involved, rather than all of the involved agencies doing their own environmental review, he thought it would be faster and more efficient to have the town board do coordinated review. And he would prepare letters to send to the involved agencies requesting that the town board serve as lead agency and circulate those. Then there's a period of 30 days that you have to wait to see if any of the other involved agencies want to serve as lead agency. And if not, then the town board can go ahead and do the environmental review. WSP Cells would prepare the environmental assessment form. And
So do we adopt this tonight?
Yes.
yes.
Right.
If you-
Yes. Yes, because that was one of the things they said we needed to do right away.
Correct.
Resolution number
This is going to be number 6, wasn't it?
6?
6. Let's skip backwards.
At the resolution number 6 of 2013, Wasatch Trail to Train project at the meeting of the town board of the town of Amenia held at the Amenia Town Hall on the 24th day of January 2013, 7 p.m. Town Supervisor William Flood called the meeting to order, and
I make the motion.
Tori Perotti made the motion, seconded by Councilman.
I'll make that second.
Introduce the following resolution to wit, whereas the Harlem Valley Rail Trail is a pedestrian bicycle path that exists in the town of Amenia but does not currently extend south of the Wasatch Metro North train station, and whereas the town board has determined that where there is currently no safe pedestrian and bicycle link from the hamlet of Wasatch to the Wasatch Metro North train station on Route 22, and that this existing condition entices pedestrians to engage in the dangerous and illegal practice of walking along the Metro North tracks. Whereas the town board has determined that the extending the Harlem Valley Rail Trail from its present terminus to the Wasatch Metro North train station to the hamlet of Wasatch would provide a safe and legal means for residents to walk or bicycle between the hamlet of Wasatch and the Wasatch Metro North train station, and would therefore be in the best interest of the town. And whereas the town board has retained the services of WSP Cells for the purpose of designing a paved pedestrian bicycle path that would extend the Harlem Valley Rail Trail 3,500 linear feet south of its present terminus at the Wasatch Metro North train station on Route 22 in the hamlet of Wasatch. And whereas once the design of the project is completed and all necessary right-of-way approvals and permits are obtained, the town board will complete the construction phase of the project in an expeditious manner. And whereas the town board has determined that the construction of the paved pedestrian bicycle path that would extend the Harlem Valley Rail Trail 3,500 linear feet south of its present terminus at the Wasatch Metro North train station on Route 22 in the hamlet of Wasatch is an unlisted action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, seeker. And whereas the town board wishes to engage in coordinated review under seeker and will request to serve as lead agency in such coordinated review, and now therefore be resolved that the town board hereby determines that the action involving the construction of the paved pedestrian bicycle path that would extend the Harlem Valley Rail Trail 3,500 linear feet south of its present terminus at the Wasatch Metro North train station on Route 22 in the hamlet of Wasatch is an unlisted action under seeker, and be it further resolved that the town board hereby determines that it shall proceed with a coordinated review under seeker and will request to serve as lead agency in such coordinated review. Dated in New York, January 24th, 2013. A roll call, please.
Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Ramers absent.
Can I ask just another question or two about the state of the rail trail project? Okay, maybe I've missed something, but I just wanted to know if the DEC has basically given their tacit approval of the design plan that we were following that was the least expensive and was going along the wetlands with the buildup of
Yes.
this topsoil. So they are on board with that.
Yes.
And so the $100,000 that we are getting from the Community Development Block Grant, that's for existing handicapped accessibility issues. That doesn't add on any additional requirements, which would inflate the costs that we have originally estimated this to cost.
Correct.
In other words, I knew we had to be handicapped accessible. I'm assuming that that's just covering the existing things that were already in the cost
I
estimate.
hope so.
Yeah, well,
It's federal
it
money
has to be
already
ADA.
anyway,
I
so
know,
it's
I
the
just
same.
hope that there wasn't a higher level that was calling for higher
It's already
costs.
federal money that we're getting, so it's the same. I mean, the standards wouldn't be different. I mean, the transportation money we're getting is, I mean, that in effect
Yeah,
is
the whole,
federal money.
the whole design
so-
plan is, it's ADA compliant.
So it's paying for a portion that's already in the plan.
The heads.
And
Right.
already estimated. Okay,
Correct.
I just wanted to make sure that we weren't incurring any new expenses with the CDBG. Okay. Thank you.
And the Metro North, I think, is ready to sign off. They're close, I think.
Dan seemed to think all these,
We're close.
yeah, that
The
everybody
only
is.
issue we have now, it's got to go to the DOT again for their
Final blessing
final blessing, which could take
forever.
forever.
But this secret would be happening at the same time.
Right.
Assuming that we are, I would just hate to see us go through secret and find that, DOT substantially changed, whatever it
No,
was.
they sent a letter
wouldn't.
to WSP Sales of what their concerns were, so they're it's not that big a deal.
No.
Okay. all
There's
right.
not many concerns.
It's not going to change our secret outcome.
no,
Right,
no.
okay. All right.
And they're the ones, my understanding is they wanted.
Right.
Us to
this-
go
this
forward.
to
Yeah,
go
they wanted
forward,
this.
so-
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
The IT and the web, I'm still working on some other proposals for that. Resolutions number 3, authorizing disposal of obsolete equipment with no market value. At the meeting of the town board of the town of Amenia held at the Amenia Town Hall on the 24th day of January 2013 at 7 p.m., Town Supervisor William Flood called the meeting to order, and someone second.
I'll go ahead and second that.
I'll make the motion.
Introduce the following resolution to wit, whereas the town of Amenia obtained certain equipment, including fax machine, monitors, and computers in previous years. A complete list of the equipment is attached here too. Which equipment was used by the town or town offices, and whereas the town of Amenia Town Board has determined that such equipment is no longer useful or necessary for town purposes, and whereas the town board has further determined that due to the age of the equipment and its extremely poor condition, such equipment has no appreciable value, and there's no individual business or other municipality that would be able to put such equipment to a useful purpose. And whereas the town board has determined that it would be in the best interest of the town for such equipment to be disposed of in the following manner. The hard drives of the computers will be removed and destroyed, and the equipment will be disposed of by well sanitation. And whereas the disposal of obsolete equipment is a type 2 action and exempt from seeker, and now therefore be resolved that the town board hereby determines that the equipment consisting of the attached list is obsolete and can serve no useful purpose to the town. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby determines that the attached listed equipment has no appreciable market value and could not serve a useful purpose for any other individual business or municipality. And be it further resolved that the town board hereby approves and authorizes the disposal of attached listed equipment in the following manner. The hard drives of the computers will be removed and destroyed, and equipment will be disposed of by well sanitation. The equipment involved is 3 Brothers fax machines, 3 monitors, a printer, 4 keyboards, and 3 computers. A roll call, please.
Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Crody?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rivers absent.
Resolution number 4 of 2013, transfer of funds for December 2012, whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary and unanticipated to amend the budget, whereas the town budget line 2770 unclassified revenues requires an increase in the amount of $120 from the DC Arts Council grant, and whereas the town board budget line 73104.1.00 youth programs requires an increase in the amount of $120 to reconcile the payments to WASDE project, and whereas the town budget line 31-201.1.00 police and constables requires an increase in the amount of $293.25 for the purpose of personal services, And whereas at town budget line 80201.1.00, planning board requires an increase in the amount of $449.12 for the purpose of personal services. And whereas at town budget line 19004.1.49, special items, contingencies requires a decrease in the amount of $742.37. And now be it therefore resolved that the town board authorize the transfer of necessary budget lines transaction. Motion made by,
I'll make that motion.
What was the 449.12 for, please?
Personal services.
personal services.
For planning.
Planning,
Personal services for plan?
correct. Motion made and seconded by,
Is that building department?
it probably, I don't know what it is. I haven't seen it. It's probably planning board. It's a planning board. It probably, I think what happened is they went over,
Police and
Sue's,
constables.
budget line went over.
What's the police and constables?
Same, budget lines went over.
This is for December 2012.
Yeah. The lines went over.
Well, they have to be,
0.
Zero.
yeah. So did you need a second, or you got a second?
I need a second.
I'll second it. I
You
think
made
I
the
I made
motion?
the motion, so somebody
I'll
else has to second it.
Councilman Haas, okay. Councilman Perotti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle,
Yes.
Councilman Haas,
Yes.
Councilwoman Reamer is absent. Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution number 5 of 2013, provision of transportation service by Northeast Community Council, Inc. Whereas the town board of the town of Amenia has determined that it is in the best interest of all residents of the town that there be services available to provide transportation to the residents of the town for medical care and other basic services. And whereas the town board has determined that the town board does not currently provide such transportation services at all for all the residents of town, and whereas the Northeast Community Council is a not-for-profit corporation organized under the laws of the state of New York, which operates a community center in Dutchess County, provides, among other things, transportation services by operating a mobility management services, whereas the town board has determined that the mobility management services provided by NECC could adequately provide transportation services to residents of the town of Amenia in order for them to obtain medical care and other basic services. And whereas NECC has agreed to provide such transportation services to the residents of town, whereas the costs incurred by NECC for providing such services will be financed in part by a grant which NECC is provided and partially by the town, and whereas NECC has requested the sum of $2,000 be paid by the town as its share of the cost of providing transportation services, and whereas the town has agreed to pay the sum of $2,000 as share of the cost of providing transportation services, and whereas the town has agreed to pay NECC the sum of $2,000 for NEC to provide such transportation services to the residents of the town, and whereas the town and NECC have agreed to enter in a written agreement memorializing the terms in which NECC will provide transportation services to the residents of the town, and whereas it is determination of the town of Amenia, of the Amenia Town Board that such action will not have an adverse impact on the environment. Now therefore be resolved that the Amenia Town Board hereby authorizes the town supervisor William Flood to execute the written agreement between the town of Amenia and NEC to provide transportation services to the residents of the town of Amenia, and to pay NECC the sum of $2,000 for NECC to provide such transportation services. A copy of the agreement between the town and NECC is attached here too, and it is further resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to take such other and further ministerial action as may be necessary to effectuate the agreement.
Supervisor Flood?
Yes.
Councilman Haas?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilwoman Perotti?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Reamer.
Just a footnote, this is the last year that this is going to happen. It has lost its funding. So if we can get the ridership up, there is a chance that the county will step in and help us. You know, ridership has been up on these things. It's doing pretty well in other parts of the other towns, but we need to get the ridership up. Now, I believe, I did meet with the county today. I think in April, they will take residents from here to the big box stores in Poughkeepsie 1 day a week, drop them off in 3 or 4 hours, pick them up and bring them back. So that's been something that the people want to do. So they will, that's a service that's going to start. Also, I believe now that they can transport them into Connecticut to the hospital. I believe that finally got worked out.
Yeah,
So,
I think they can
but
cross the line.
But the funding is ending this year. This is the end of it. So.
Can I just ask who's making that motion and who's seconding it? I know we made a vote on there, but there's no who made the motion, who wants to second it. If you could just add that in.
I'll make the motion.
And I'll second it.
Thank you.
So is the loop bus going to be then our only option?
It may not be any
And it
option.
may not be an option at all.
Right.
So we will have a big hole again.
Well, the county, at this point, they're looking to see what they can do. And I'll get into in my report.
All right.
You know, I'm on the Transportation Council in the county. We met this morning. You know, obviously, we have $34 million in budgeted projects to be done. The amount of money available is $20 million. So we're $14 million short in money for projects that has to be done. One of the projects that's being cut this year is the rail trail, the extension from the rail trail in Millerton, which is budgeted at $7.8 million. The design is going to go through, is in front of DOT, but at this point there is no funding to move that project forward.
That's the to Copay.
North. Right.
Yeah.
North. The cost of dealing with the
Wetlands. Yeah.
You know, the alternative route was to pave part of it and then go on the roads, but that was turned down by I guess the committee.
For safety.
For safety or whatever, and people just didn't want it, but you know, they're talking about building a boardwalk over some of it, so the cost is just through the roof.
Yeah.
So at this point, we'll see what happens with it. Unfortunately, there's not many projects in Eastern Dutchess. Most of them are Town of Poughkeepsie, Beacon. There is one, the county, I think it's through the transportation. They did receive the grant, and I asked for more bike racks for the rail trail, but I don't know if we're going to get them. There's also we can apply for a hut that they have, that they'll make. It comes in, you put it together, but I think it's already been designated for other parts of the county, that we probably won't get one out here.
Like a kiosk sort of thing?
No, it's like those bus things, you know, where the kids wait.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. And I'll just go into mine.
It would be nice if they would extend their parking lot at our trailhead in Mechanic Street. They said that they would do that at some point, but I'm guessing that it's not a big priority of theirs.
No.
Because it's not quite long enough, you know, people drive off the asphalt to get the full parking.
You know, the county money's going to the rail trail in Western Dutchess. You know, the bridges are almost finished. That's where they're headed. That's where their money's being spent, you know. They paid for the $30 million for the railroad bridge. That's paid for with the donations in what, 2 years. It's paid for $30 million.
It costs very little to extend their parking lot, and they were going to redo the sign at the Mechanic Street. I was going to have Jim Rapoli come out and talk to us about our streetscape improvements.
We got permission to put up a sign for the
rail trail.
For the rail trail for the business district. They'll allow us to do that, but I think Maureen was going to work on the design. But you know, it's probably slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, sign is good.
Talk to Maureen. There's another committee that's going to meet in New York's a bicycling coalition. If anybody wants to be involved in that, their professionals bringing back together about making bike. Actually, they're realizing now that the bike trails are a very big tourist attraction, a very big moneymaker for the county and the state of New York. That they want more towns involved in getting involved attracting more tourists for the rail trails. So that's what we should be doing. And if there's I don't know if we don't have a committee here that does that, right? Or enhancement or whatever. You want to do something like that, or?
I think enhancement deals with walkable more so than biking, but we have a large contingent of professional bikers who go through Wassaic on a regular basis. And I think once we get a rail trail extension, I would think that would be a big draw, is to send them on up into uptown Amenia.
Our rail trail extension, that's a big thing.
Yeah, no, I think
it's
it would make a big difference.
Well, in the state level, it's a big deal.
We have a lot of bicyclists on Wassaic roads.
Right. Tomorrow morning, I have a 9 o'clock conference call with the EFC, Liz Rovers from CT Mail. They are starting the process of us paying back the money for the landfill. It's approximately $2,146,124. That does not reflect the grant. So there should be $1 million coming off of that. And I'm going to ask for more money tomorrow. So that's at 9 o'clock tomorrow. We have a conference call with EFC. I did also give you a packet. Let me go back to the Transportation Council. A year ago, a little over a year ago, there was a meeting here that we had, actually when Supervisor Uvard was still in office. They came out and asked what the town wanted for transportation, bicycles, and so on and so forth. It took a year to do the study, so it's just been printed, so the prints are here, which I'll put in the town clerk's office. So it's actually it's a pretty impressive thing that they did. And this was actually printed through the county's print shop. They did their own, so that's something we should take a look at if we're doing any printing.
Are we cited in their transportation plan? Okay, that's good.
Last year, the town of Amenia joined the Northern Dutchess Alliance, which is a shared service study, which was done by I'll read the towns: Amenia, Clinton, Hyde Park, Milan, Northeast, Pine Plains, Pleasant Valley, Red Hook, Rhinebeck, and Stamford. The villages of Milton, Red Hook, Rhinebeck, and Tivoli. The Alliance, what they did is they took, for Amenia, all these towns, they took their budgets, they ran the numbers, looked at the numbers in all the towns, and where we can share services, and they're coming up, it's done by students in New Paltz, a professor from New Paltz that's doing it, and we met today, and they're coming up with different proposals as to where we can save money and how the towns can work together to save some money. A couple of the things that they brought up today were,
let's see, among towns, Amenia was distinctive for lower per capita income, higher occupancy of rental housing, and lower per capita income.
Yep.
Did we actually join this?
Yeah.
I don't know where we're doing
that. The highway departments, what they're looking, and Stanley does a lot of it, you know, the towns do share when there's blacktopping going on and so on and so forth, that they do. Plowing the county roads, which we don't do out here, but some towns do. They're reimbursed by the county, but the county now has taken that back, so they're not doing it anymore.
No reimbursements.
No reimbursements. Assessors, they're looking at combining assessors with multiple towns, or having a private assessor to do the whole county, or having the county to do the assessments, and then bill it back to the individual towns. But it's nothing is, they're just looking at stuff like this. They talked about fire districts, fire companies, and so on and so forth, other towns. Other towns in the state are doing a lot of this stuff. Villages are taking over towns, because it's easier to run a village than it is a town. So they're incorporating the towns within the villages. Another thing that they're looking at too, and we're working with that now, is the county, we're gonna be going in, hopefully within the county health department, health insurance. The county's working on that now. So hopefully what they're telling us, by the end of this year, we should have an agreement, or some kind of an agreement as what we can do, what we can't do. Amenia was accepted in the workers' comp program through the county, which saved us, I think, $26,000 this year. So one of the things that came up also was a consolidation of the courts today. That they are really starting to take a look at that. And I believe in the governor's State of the Union address, that the fees that the town receives are going to be taken away. Did you hear that, Dawn?
I didn't listen to his speech.
Right, that came up today, that the fees that we do get, the state may take it.
They're looking at making some changes.
Yeah, we're gonna make some serious changes here, so.
Further encouraging us to consolidate.
Yeah.
They also don't want us reducing our tickets to parking anymore.
Correct.
The revenue from a parking ticket goes entirely to the town.
Wow.
Where on a moving violation, the town only encumbers $5 of it, and the rest of it goes to the state. And when you try to explain that to a defendant, sometimes it's very difficult to say, okay, there's a $100 fine and an $85 surcharge. Of that entire portion, the town only receives a very small amount. And you see that by the monthly amounts that we turn over to the supervisor, and then the amount that the town retains and how much gets sent to the county, the state, and it goes elsewhere, it doesn't stay here. And in turn, by having the prosecutor, we were increasing our revenues to the portion of what the town gets, and it's catching up.
Well, yeah, all right, we ran the numbers today. It costs us $87,915 to run our courts system. We took in, justice revenue was $26,703.
That's the town's portion of
Right.
the monies that we hold. So we hold anywhere between 80,000 and 100 is how much we collect.
But
that
the town gets
you only
26.
get a very minimal portion.
So it goes to the county and the state, or to
Goes to the state.
County and state. Yeah, that's the biggest portion goes elsewhere.
Same with the assessors. We'll see what they come up with. Some of the towns were sort of, we'll see.
Did they talk about ambulance district and sharing of fire services?
They did, some of the people that were there did, some of the towns did talk about that they're looking at it. The rescue squads are becoming very, very expensive. Obviously, the paid departments are becoming very expensive. Police departments are really the ones that are really driving
Thank goodness
through
we
the
don't
roof.
have that.
Yeah, the city of Poughkeepsie's going crazy. I think,
Yeah.
what it's cost them in retirement funds for the police and the firemen is incredible.
Yep.
They retire with full pay, full benefits.
Wow.
But obviously, some of it's pretty good as to what we can do here. We'll see. Obviously, as the state's cracking down on everything, so no more paper, all emails.
Well, I think that's the sign of the times. I
Right.
mean, you cannot continue the way it is. Everybody across the board is going to have to figure out how to do
Well,
less.
one of the things that came up today is like the fire departments,
Do more with
they
less.
pay workers' comp, we pay workers' comp, and the fire departments pay workers' comp. Why can't we have one policy for all and cover everybody?
Right.
Why do we have to have 4 or 5 different workers' comp policies within the same town? The same way with health insurance. If, the different departments have different, the towns, the health insurance is okay, but different towns have different health. One of the biggest things that came up today, every town agency in town in Dutchess County has the same insurance company. And we do not pool our insurance. every town is quoted different. So it's something as a town, no one knew that, that we have the same insurance companies. So as a block, we could say, hey, so I think they're gonna start that conversation.
Yeah. I would think the Association of Towns this is what our focus
Yep.
will be, is how can we cut costs, right? And still keep our services at the level that we come to expect and need to continue on.
Yeah. It's how to spend the taxpayers' money wisely. That's all I've got. There's some stuff from the planning board I'd like to wait, though. Can we wait?
On the legal issue? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have
We
to
have
have a
time.
discussion.
Right.
Yeah. They've canceled their meeting,
Correct.
hopefully not because of us. We're just,
No, they're all sick.
okay.
Any other town?
They want
board-
to know what their budget is, though.
We've
Their
never
legal
broken
budget.
out
We have never
them
broken it out.
separately. They've used from the same legal line that we all have. That's the problem I have with, it would take some effort to try and figure out a separate budget for their use alone. Do we even try, I guess that we would have to go back and get Sherry to break out what they have used in the past, what portion has been used historically, and what we think is a ballpark number.
I think we have to go through the last few years and average out per year.
Well, that's what we need,
yeah.
maybe that's what we should start, Bill, is have some facts in front of us as to, because
Yeah.
otherwise, it's all in one line.
We started working on it today, actually.
Okay, all
So, and that, I would assume next year's budget will have to break it out.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to do is.
Yeah,
is-
because if they're gonna go their own way,
Right,
you know.
is look at our budget a little bit different. I've looked at other town budgets, and theirs is broken out much more than ours is. So we should probably break ours out a little bit more. And see where we are. Anything else? No more comments?
No, I was just, I believe you said we'll have a resolution for the next meeting for the employee handbook, so we can finally get that
Yep.
passed.
I promise you. I
I'll
promise.
hold you to it.
I promise. CJ?
For anyone who's interested, the town has been participating in the county pedestrian and bike plan, which will be their next long-range plan for trying to figure out what parts of the county need to be targeted, and I feel Amenia was well represented. We had surveys going on in a few areas of town. If anyone's interested, we had between 5 and 7 on September 8th, we had 7 people walk by the Mechanic Street and 343 intersection. So it was a very exciting night. But we have surveyed, and we will be part of the plan, thankfully. And as far as the concern Cheryl Morris brought up earlier about the letter we received from the county, I don't think we can ignore it. So I really hope that a thoughtful response is being prepared to the county, because, that wasn't, they weren't writing that letter for their health. They believe that there is an actual issue here.
That's not true, but I did talk to the county. The
Well, they-
complaint that was made was that we were going to increase her hours by 3 hours. That did not happen. So you're allowed to give a merit raise. The county is working with us on her. In fact, she stopped working at this point, so we may have to hire another bookkeeper. So at this point, we'll see where we are, because she's only working her 20 hours. We cannot do the work that has to be done here in 20 hours. So
That's fine, but that's not how that's not how that
and
was.
furthermore, we're not going to discuss the personnel issue.
I'm not.
in an
I'm
open
speaking
town board.
generally that's not how it was presented to us. So, they didn't. Again, that letter. I mean, we need to respond to it, and I hope
I have
you're
to talk to
preparing a
Carl.
response. Okay.
It will not be in a public meeting, the discussion.
That's fine. It's a legal personnel matter, but
Correct.
I mean, for the record, that's I hope we're working to resolve their concerns.
I did it the next day.
Okay.
So there's a VFW.
And I will tell you that we can increase her hours by 20 hours a week for 3 months.
We've done that in
That's
the
legal,
past for other
The problem we
employees
have
where
is
we
there's
have
not
had an
enough-
issue.
right.
We've always had an agreement, ideally, ahead of time with the county that we could
Right.
temporarily, due to an unusual circumstance, we can increase the hours to deal with
That is an option that we
court
have.
cases or whatever.
We have to do it by resolution, and they have to approve it.
Correct.
We just can't do it.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
They
I
have to
didn't know
approve
that.
it.
I know that we've done it in the past for specific personnel issues, and Lana always dealt with that, but I don't recall doing a resolution, so I'm
We'll need to do it with the
appreciate knowing
recreation
that
director.
correctly. Pardon?
We'll need to do that with the recreation
So we're
director
asking for more than 20 hours?
during the summer. So,
And that's a touchy issue. I mean, they don't always agree to
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Yeah, they have to approve it.
Yep. So that is
Well, the issue is
essence of
too,
what
you
we've
know,
done.
like the certified payroll, you know, you've had people that got Christmas bonuses here that were illegal. You got people that were,
We never gave Christmas
What Christmas
bonuses.
they give Christmas bonuses. When Rose Greer was
And not when I was on the town
well,
board, not
there
to
were
my
cut
knowledge.
checks. Escrow checks were cut from, to her for $25 a month from each escrow account. The stuff that went on here is incredible. But, you know, and I don't want to start throwing darts, but
No, no,
the problem we have is that you cannot do the work that has to be done in 20 hours a week.
Okay, so if that is true, Bill, then we would then, by county personnel, need to make that a competitive position. We'd have to, she's not on a registered list, that's the issue, right?
Correct. She'd
Is
have
that
to take
she
a
would
test.
have to take a test, and then we'd have to
Go off the
see
list.
who applies.
Right.
So maybe that's what we need to do.
There is another way of doing some stuff, but it's a little, the problem with the county personnel, some of it's a little vague as to what you can do and what you can't do. There is a legislative aid that can be done, that could be done also,
To give her a second.
to give her more hours.
Right.
You reappoint her or something else, let's do something like that. So there's stuff that can be done. I've talked to Carl the day that we got the letter.
Yeah,
Actually, the day before we got the letter, because he called me and said the letter was going out, so I did speak to him.
all right.
So the issue has been dealt with. So we did not increase any hours because we can't. So that was done. That was the complaint that was given, I believe. So,
But we didn't increase the hours. All we did was recognize that she had been exceeding
Correct.
these hours.
right, which is totally legal.
But with resolution, that's what Victoria's just said. We should
No,
have
no,
made
no,
a
the
resolution.
merit raise is totally legal.
Oh, that part I
That part.
understand
Right.
completely. We've done it with Ron Gazzoli. There was an extenuating circumstance. They worked
Ron
beyond.
Gazzoli is an elected official. He's not a county,
Well, Donna.
doesn't
And that was illegal.
Donna was
function out
also
of the
given-
county rules.
But Donna was also given an increase for her extra work that she
Sure.
put in while we did that revow.
Well, in addition, in that letter, if I remember it correctly, it also said is going to be monitoring the town's hours for all of 2013.
They only do 1 week, so.
Lana has handled those issues very well.
Yeah.
Always kept us in the
Well,
loop.
there's a complaint filed, so that's what they're answering, you know, there was several complaints from the board, one of the board members. So they answered the letter, so that was it. So,
that's not how,
and some other members of the public, so there was,
that's not how it's presented in the letter, though, so.
then you're welcome to come in here and sit and have a conference call with Carl. That's, you know, hear from the truth, from him, so.
I already spoke to him.
Yeah, me too. I got the truth.
It is the truth, what I'm telling you.
No, it's not.
Well,
Not the truth.
right, Marilyn, you know, I'll consider the source.
I'll just mention that there's a VFW breakfast from 7 to 11 a.m. on Sunday, January 27th at the VFW Post 5444, Route 22 in Dover Plains. Come and enjoy conversation and delicious food. Adults, we're not sure what the price is, or
It's in the paper, I'm sorry, I grabbed that. It was $7.
probably $7 or $8 for adults, and kids probably for a little less. And there's a charcoal roasted pork loin dinner at the South Amenia Presbyterian Church on Saturday, February 9th, 4:30 to 7 p.m. Tickets are $12 for adults, $5 for children under 12. Reservations are requested. Please call 373-9620, 789-1206, or 877-3939. Takeouts are available. Order ahead or call 373-9959 before 4 p.m. on the 9th. So the price of the VFW is $7 for adults, $6 for seniors, and $5 for children 12 and under. And that's eggs, pancakes, hash browns, bacon, sausage, potatoes, toast, coffee, and juice. And again, that was on the VFW breakfast, 7 to 11 a.m. on Sunday, January 27th at the VFW Post in Dover Plains. There's also a February 1st Happy Feet movie night here at the Town Hall. It's free, and you just come right here to the auditorium.
Wear your slippers.
Wear your slippers. And what time does it start?
The doors open at 6.
Good job.
Movie starts at 6:30.
Okay, 6:30. They have popcorn and free drinks. Right? Bring your own drink. Bring your own
Yes,
drink.
you have to bring your own drink, but free popcorn.
They put sandbags at the tennis courts, I think, yesterday or today, so to block the water. So I don't know if they're flooding it again tonight, but that's there is some ice there
For ice skating?
For ice skating. The light bulbs, we blew the light bulbs in the. We had a brownout at some point, so there's a shortage of those bulbs, which I talked to the electrician. They're in, so he's going to replace those bulbs, so the lights should be on shortly on the tennis courts. So that should be done. I believe the classes upstairs have started with the English as a second language. That started. I also got a call from Sam Bucell at the Dutchess County Housing Authority, and through the Taconic Berkshire Foundation is going to have some seminars here, and culminating with a Pace Law will teach a class here. This will be the dates. They're working out the dates now with Mary as to what dates are available here, so that'll be done. Hopefully in the next meeting I should have the dates ready for those seminars. I will tell you also the building department's doing very well. They're very busy. I was just thinking here, the report, the permits that are coming in are incredible.
So is there housing activity? There's construction and things happening?
Yep.
So that's a good sign?
The blue building on Old 22 has been sold again, so they're coming in. That's going to be, I think that's going to be affordable housing. Another company, affordable housing company, bought the gut, the former building in the back. That's being rehabbed now. There's some other pretty good sized homes that are going to start construction also, so Ron will have a good year. So things are looking up a little bit.
That's good.
Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
I have not, and I apologize.
Then why don't we hold off?
I'm very sorry, I just did not get to that.
Pushing.
Sorry, Delmarie.
He has masks for them.
We still have public comment again, right? Okay, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin Cassone
That's
again.
it. 30 seconds.
Bill, when you were talking about the NECC, how many riders do they need?
What's
Do you know
that?
those numbers about the NECC?
I don't know what the riders, I know our ridership is up, but it needs to get more.
Okay, I guess I want a definition of more. And those guys could use some help. Remember, Vicki, when I was thanking you for giving me, I had to get rides from her. After the events I just announced that Millbrook's having, that start at 9 or 9:30, I can't take that service there. They don't start that early.
Well, there's a certain, you can call them. They'll
We
come
really
get
need
you.
some tough love. Somebody
They'll
sort of
call, there's a number
smack
you
them
can
around
call,
and
they'll
tell
come
them to
get
run
you.
Huh?
They'll come get you.
If they have volunteers.
Yeah, but
for
it starts at 9. A bus leaves Poughkeepsie at 9. Forget about just sort of the green travesty of these people. I feel so guilty being in that loop bus by myself with this thing that gobbles up, what does it get, 6 miles to the gallon, 2, if we're lucky? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, why don't they just buy, if the NECC, I don't know if there's some Dutchess County regulation, I feel like, yeah, I should write Molinaro or Mike Kelsey. A little van that they can keep locally here, rather than have to, I mean, it has to come from Poughkeepsie all the way out here, and then, take me back halfway. But the earliest you can get somewhere is 10, maybe 11, if you really wanted, when I was taking
But
those
what about
classes,
this
that's why I had to
summer?
ask
I
Vicki
mean-
to give me a ride.
But what
Thank
about
God you work right next door.
NECC, Northeast Community Center?
Everything they do, it's really all the Dutchess
That.
County Transportation.
Oh, okay.
Even the bus they have, I thought they had a bus.
Yeah.
They told me they just lease it, or there's some sort of weird contractual arrangement.
They're the funding source. They're the funding source. They're running the county funds through the NECC.
Right.
So,
I mean, it might have a different paint job, but it's still the same ownership of the same buses, the same drivers. But you call NECC for them to then call Dutchess
Wow.
County, and then you wait a few days to get back. You have to do it 3 days in advance. I have to plan things about 10 days in advance in case there's a conflict, in case somebody else has it. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say something derogatory, but I really think somebody with minimal experience could look at their sort of flow chart and go, gee, we can save a lot of steps here, a lot of... But anyway.
they are looking at it. I know that. It's difficult out here.
Right.
There's no question. It's very difficult.
Right, and in today's, in today's environment, just like you guys were talking, what they'll do is they'll just, cut us adrift again. They did it before in economic times that weren't even this bad, right? When they first cut it. That was before the Great Recession or whatever we're calling it. But anyway, it's I see them wasting money hand over fist and just doing it in a bizarre way. And providing, and like I said, if you're going to do something, if you're going to your doctor's office in the middle of the afternoon, it's great. You said, shopping over to Poughkeepsie. Here's an example. Do you know the only thing you're allowed to carry on the bus? 3 little plastic bags, like 3 little Fresh Town bags. Who goes to Walmart or a big box store and they have weird trunk areas to come home with 3 little bags? It has to fit on your lap, or you're not allowed on the bus with it. So yeah, see, I think you're smiling. I can't tell from this distance. But yeah, who the heck goes to a
But we're
beach?
lucky to have what we have, because for many years we had nothing. So something is better than nothing.
And it's about to go away, yes, but that doesn't, and if they can run it much more efficiently and make it cost less, then the powers that be
Well, the problem is, Kevin, we
will say,
don't
gee,
have the population. That's
Right.
the problem.
right.
To make it efficient.
Right. To make it
Right,
workable.
I'm not complaining, I'm hoping to just trigger some
No,
ideas.
Victoria's right. It's better what we had. We had nothing. And hopefully,
the
if the
mosquito
ridership
hunting with
stays up,
bazookas.
we can come up with some more funding somewhere.
Yeah, or a smaller vehicle that wouldn't cost so much to operate, run, maintain.
I know they're
For
trying.
all
to
the outer towns here, maybe we get together. You were talking about that Northeast Alliance. All these outer towns, one van, make it available.
Well, they also hired a specific person to run the whole operation.
Right.
Full-time
Right,
position.
he spoke here. I remember him.
Right.
I used to call him. But yeah, it's just, and I'm sure it's not even his fault. I'm sure he's operating under a weight of regulations about how to do things. But anyway, one man's thoughts. I'd like to know what we got to get our numbers up to.
I'll find out.
I'll drum up business somehow because I need it. I mean, I'm not complaining, Victoria. I want this system more than
He needs
unless somebody gives me a ride. I don't leave this town without it. So, thank you.
Cheryl Morse again. Just to clarify from the letter from Dutchess County, our rules also indicate that a town can have either a secretary to the supervisor or a bookkeeper to the supervisor in the exempt class, but not both. Town of Amenia currently has a secretary to the supervisor in the exempt class. Please understand you must notify us of these changes because if there are discrepancies that go unreported, this could result in an unauthorized and illegal appointment when it comes time to certify your payroll. It may cause us to halt payment until the discrepancy can be fixed. According to Section 101 of Civil Service Law, deems it to be a misdemeanor to pay salary or compensation for which certification has been refused. The law is very clear on this matter. We want to continue to have a great working relationship with the town of Amenia, but this will require your cooperation in working with us and letting us know of any changes happening in the town when it pertains to civil service. We did certify your payroll for 2012 with no exceptions. However, you never indicated to us the additional hours that your bookkeeper was working. We only found out about this through your board minutes. So for 2013, when it comes to time to certify your payroll, you will need to provide us with the hourly salary for those employees in the part-time, non-competitive positions that could be competitive if the hours are more than part-time. Our transaction unit will be contacting you to discuss this in further detail. Also, if you have any other issues or concerns about this, you may contact me at 845-486-2185, and it was signed by Carl Menyow, Personnel Technician. The law states, any officer who shall willfully pay or authorize the payment of salary or compensation to any person in the classified service with knowledge that the State Civil Service Department or appropriate municipal civil service commission has refused to certify the payroll, estimate, or account of such person, or after due notice from such department or commission that such person has been appointed, employed, transferred, assigned to perform duties, or reinstated in violation of any of the provisions of this chapter or the rules established thereunder, shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. So I don't think from the tone of this letter that this was a little note to be the end of it, with all due respect.
Was taken care of.
I'd like to invite any town board members or staff who would like to go to the Association of Towns to write. I could drive my car down if it's difficult for people to use public transportation down to the city and back. I'm perfectly happy to do it either way. I'm perfectly happy to hop on the train, or I'm also could use my car to drive down, and if there were 3 or 4 of us, it would make sense to use a parking garage. So please contact me before February 1 so I can just plan accordingly. I'm happy absolutely either way. So
Now, has the deposit sent in? Usually, what, $100?
I don't think any.
You have to sign up.
We have to sign up to tell the.
Yeah, when you sign up, then we have to send in, I think it's is that still $100?
It's still $100.
$100 registration fee.
Is this is the last one in New York?
You keep saying that.
Yes.
So I'm
I think it is.
Oh, well, I don't know if it is or not, but.
Maybe they'll make that announcement.
Pardon? February 15th through the 17th, I believe.
sign-ups are due now,
Oh,
Take anybody.
so.
I bet they would take $100.
Sure. They'll take the money.
They'll take the money. But, yeah, let me know right away if you need, you got it? February 17th through the 20th, the fee was $100 for members, $125 non-members per person prior to January 28th. After January 28th, all registrations will be processed on-site at the cost of $135 for members, $160 for non-members. So we do need to get our registration in for $100 before January 28th.
Okay.
I'd like to call the board's attention to an article that's in the Millerton News written by Whitney Joseph. And it's concerning basically kind of the pitfalls of IT and web. And they're asking, Amenia was mentioned regarding some, in other words, joining some sort of perhaps consortium kind of thing to in working with the IT and the web. So again, I draw your attention to it. It's this today's edition of the Millerton News. Take a look at it. Thank you.
Is that it? I'll make a motion.
No.
I'd like to ask you to amend it this resolution that you just made to dispose of the equipment, the hard drives are considered to be public records and must be disposed of only after asking for permission to do so, and in a manner that the Education Department of the state approves. And I'd like for you to include that in disposing of this. You
Oh,
can't-
well, I disagree with you, so,
Would you like the law, Bill?
no, I
I
don't.
can look it
No,
up.
I don't. I don't need the law.
Well, a report will be made. then.
Whatever you gotta do, Sharon, I'll keep your life going
Well,
for
it's
another
not
week.
just me, it's other people.
Right.
Is
that
it
it?
true that the hard drives need to be stored, the
Well,
content
the-
stored? I mean, we've got a lawyer sitting here, might as well.
You can look at the
Oh, sorry, public
archives
comments only.
section of the State Department of Education. It is up to the discretion of the State Department of Education for any records to be destroyed, with exception to certain scheduled records. If you go to the Cultural Affairs section on the New York State Department of Education, and there's actually a gentleman, Jeffrey, I think his last name is Hutt, something like that. You can contact him and find out specifically what the schedule is and what can be
Retention
destroyed
schedule, right.
and what must be retained for posterity.
Yes.
Because there are
So
very
town should have
specific
Right,
rules and
retention
guidelines.
Policy, right.
Right.
And
Correct. There is
you
no
just have
IT
to-
policy here. There is no security.
Well,
policy.
there
No,
needs
but
to
there's
be,
a
because
data.
there is
And
one
all the-
dictated by
Well,
the
if you
state.
Shut up for a minute and listen.
Well, you don't necessarily have to keep the hard drive, you have to keep the records.
information.
All the records have been
Correct.
downloaded and
So if that's
so
the
been
case,
done.
then you're,
So, but they don't want to
that's
listen. So that's all been taken care of.
how
all of our
you
stuff has been
store the
archived.
records is up to you,
Correct.
but you've got to maintain the records.
Who has
Got it.
possession of those archived records, please?
They're in our BAS system.
But who is the record keeper for the town? Who is the official designated record keeper for the town?
Amenia.
The town clerk.
For the town of
The
Amenia?
town clerk.
Okay, thank you.
She's got it all on file.
Right.
Do this.
As of January 1.
I hate to do this.
As of January 1.
Because you reminded me, I wanted to tell you about this. Last week's Millerton News, join the Arbor Foundation for $10 for the year, and they give you 10 trees. Nice trees, 2 dogwoods, 2 poplar
Cherries,
tulips, 2
flower
this,
cherries. Yeah.
6 to 12 inches. You got to do it by the 1st, before February 1st, but it's a buck a tree. These are things that would normally be $5.99 at the nursery, so support the Arbor Foundation, buy some trees, $10. Thanks.
Yeah, all of my lilac trees that I have
Online, arbor.com.
bordering my property are all from Arbor, from the Arbor Day Foundation. I have 5 lilac trees.
Oh, okay.
5
Yeah,
lilacs.
that's the address. Will you say it into the mic then?
Yeah, dig them up in somebody else's yard.
Somebody else's yard.
They're high.
So am I. I'll make a motion, we adjourn the meeting
I'll second it.
to pay claims. Oh, this is for you, Dawn.